If you dug out one of your old consoles, dusted it off, popped in one of your favorite childhood games, booted it up, after that wave of nostalgia passes, you might feel a little hollow. You're probably enjoying the game, no doubt, but there's this feeling you just can't shake, that this is a game from a different time. You might be thinking, well, absolutely it is. Everything bends to the will of time. Nothing can stay the same forever. But how can you tell if something has changed so much, it's forgotten its entire purpose? What do you do when something you used to look to for a certain experience is now just a hollow shell that makes you want to return to the times where things weren't so different? Video games are an amazing thing, but at the end of the day, they're products for consumers to purchase, and purchasing habits change, values change, people change. So inevitably, video games have to change too. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with two video game franchises, Call of Duty and Tekken, that I personally have lost a lot of enjoyment in due to how they have changed dramatically in order to suit the consumer over creating a truly memorable experience. I used to love Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I dabble in the multiplayer, but the vast majority of my time spent playing the game was in zombies. Trying to reach high rounds, hunting for the best gobblegums made for some great memories to come. What made Black Ops 3 so iconic wasn't just the new mechanics or innovative maps, but the community surrounding the game, specifically with YouTube. Many content creators on the platform saw spikes in popularity alongside the game's release, and a main piece of that content was discussing the new DLC maps that would come out. The release of these maps wasn't just a bit of extra content, they were events that everybody was a part of, patiently waiting for the new map to come, watching theory videos, and once it finally released, you'd play the new map with your friends, stumbling upon new weapons or monsters, then watch other content creators go through those same feelings. It made you feel a part of something. So what the fuck happened? The DLC of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is limited to worthless cosmetic items, charms, weapons, finishers, emblems, calling cards, fucking emotes. It's like, wow, that's so much stuff. Well, sure, but besides the fact that it's just some quick dopamine hits that you're probably gonna forget about in a day or two, there's so many of these goddamn packs, I don't know what's worse, the decision fatigue or the fact that none of this shit has any actual value because every little pack you buy is surrounded by a sea of other downloadable items, and then that whole bunch is just gonna get replaced in a week or two. To me, purchasing this content doesn't make me feel like I'm part of anything. It just gives me that quick hit of dopamine like when I was a kid and bought a Power Rangers helmet for my avatar on Xbox. Okay, well you can still purchase the map packs, right? You know, the new zombies experience? Yeah, that's actually just fucking pre-installed on the latest update of the game. What the fuck? I can buy all this other useless shit, but I can't pay for something of actual value? But hey, it's free zombies maps. What's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with that is when you pay attention. I haven't invested anything in this new map. I haven't put forward jack shit, so how am I supposed to care about what I get out of it? And because the maps come out so quickly, at least with Black Ops 6, there isn't any time for hype to build up for the latest map. And the fact that they clearly just throw these together and ship them out. Before, maps like Gorod Krovi or Zetsubo no Shima implemented new interactive elements and zombie types amidst the brand new aesthetic. Here, all the maps look the goddamn same and they just recycle the same enemies. Who the fuck is playing this and thinking, wow, what a cool new experience? I mean, if you are, good for you, but for me, man, I can't fucking stand it. It sucks shit to see a once beloved mode treated like nothing more than an afterthought. Something else is that the map packs before, specifically with the Black Ops series, were content you couldn't find anywhere else. Sure, other developers tried mimicking the feel of zombies, but they could never do it like Treyarch, the original developers of the Black Ops series. If you want emotes, super cool weapon skins, among other pointless shit, just play a free-to-play game like Fortnite. Save yourself $90 fucking dollars. People play games like Black Ops 6 and 7 because they're Call of Duty. They already built their reputation with some of the best games ever, so they can unfortunately get away with just about anything they want. This overabundance of DLC packs and characters that look fucking bizarre in a Call of Duty game can all simply be boiled down to giving people what they want, the general audience at least. We're constantly craving new entertainment and information, and how can you blame us? These things have never been more accessible in the history of mankind, so it's only natural that we gravitate towards desiring these kinds of things, even if it's at the silent expense of our own health. We constantly want more, and franchises like Call of Duty understand that element to human psychology and are simply capitalizing off of it. If this approach didn't work, it wouldn't work. But it has, and it does. Fortnite's meteoric rise in popularity proved that players are more than willing to settle for this kind of progression system and be happy with it, unlocking new items and characters that get replaced every week, keeping your brain hooked on all those little dopamine hits. Call of Duty jumped on the bandwagon with the Modern Warfare remake and has never turned back. Just to reiterate, if you're a fan of this new model, that's great. More power to you for playing a game you enjoy. I'm just saying that it's abundantly clear that things have changed, and while change is inevitable to some degree, I'm personally personally not a fan of what has happened to the series, and it's culminated in there literally being zero interest on my part to give any time to a new Call of Duty release. Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about a video game of a different genre, Tekken. In the late 90s to early 2000s, Tekken had established itself as one of the most dominant 3D fighting games. What made up press releases and local discussions were questions of what new systems would be in the game, what new characters would make an appearance. My first game in the series was Tekken 7. I enjoyed playing the game with friends and experiencing a new type of fighting game, as the only game in the genre I was familiar with up until that point was Street Fighter. At this point, Tekken had more or less established its systems and gameplay mechanics in a general sense, things like movement, stages, characters, music. The original game had come out in 1994, and Namco has been releasing games quite frequently since then, constantly experimenting and throwing new things at the wall until they arrived here. I purchased Tekken 3 on PlayStation 5 because I didn't want to buy a PlayStation as well as an original copy of the game just to experience it, and I enjoyed playing it. I was honestly never a fan of playing online, so having so many new offline modes to play was an interesting switch up. While I wasn't even born at the time of this game's release, I could still appreciate and enjoy its approach. Then we have Tekken 8. This game has absolutely received its fair share of criticism in multiple categories, but today I'm mainly going to talk about its adoption of modern gaming practices and why I'm personally not the biggest fan of this shift. With the growing popularity of esports in recent years, it's inevitable that fighting games will be designed with this in mind, as esports generates a shit ton of money, so it's in the company's best interest to support that. However, when that's practically the only fucking thing you're putting effort into, it doesn't make me want to play the game if I'm not planning on competing in some tournament. The offline modes in this game are a joke. The story is the equivalent of playing with action figures, to be fair, as with the case with most fighting game stories. The extra modes are maybe worth about 5 minutes of fun, so you're constantly being reminded that you should just probably play online instead. But I don't want to fucking play online. But I can forgive this, honestly. I mean, people today aren't buying fighting games for the offline content, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I think is harder to defend, though, is all this fucking Fortnite battle pass bullshit and costume packs up the ass. Does Tekken really need a fucking battle pass? Do players really need to be constantly rewarded with useless cosmetic items? Namco saw the success of this kind of system with Fortnite, as well as how Call of Duty copied it and figured, fuck it, why not? Do I think this takes away from the game? Not really, but I do think it's an unfortunately placed reminder of the current state of video games, which, if you couldn't tell already, I'm not the biggest fan of. Something else that's been dogged on for years at this point is how much DLC characters cost in fighting games. It's not only fucked up how expensive these guys are, but if you're pretty serious about getting good at a fighting game like Tekken 8, for example, understanding matchups is crucial. New DLC character comes out, want to learn that matchup? Fork over $12, please, thank you very much, go fuck yourself. In older games like Tekken 3, you unlocked characters by playing the game, beating the arcade mode with multiple different characters. This not only made it so you earned your new character, but also added lots of replayability. I get how it makes sense as a company by having characters unlockable by purchasing them, but it's not like your game is doing well in the offline replayability department, so I think a way of mitigating that is to have it so you can fucking unlock the characters by actually playing the game. And like how we talked about before with Call of Duty, these kind of tactics are all a result of how digital platforms have changed our expectations from media, constantly wanting more and more when in the end we're never truly satisfied. It just goes in line with Namco being focused on following trends and making money rather than creating an impactful gaming experience. We live in an age of instant gratification. We have food delivered through an app relieving us of the pain of leaving the house, scroll on social media apps that are meticulously designed to keep you addicted, and with the level of accessibility all this media has, what we have is seemingly never enough. There's always something else to be discovered, something else for our brain to latch onto when the thing in front of us has lost its touch. The design of the modern game, constant new DLCs to purchase, a battle pass drip feeding you new content, is simply giving the people what they want, including me. Yeah, you know, I'm ranting about how I don't like it, but I can absolutely understand the appeal of this kind of system, and I'm 100% part of the generation that has been handicapped by these digital platforms. So we can't blame game publishers and developers for choosing this route. They are businesses at the end of the day, and the goal of a business is to make a profit. Are they right to do this? Not necessarily, but demonizing them and acting like we didn't do anything wrong is simply false. We can hate it all we want and make YouTube videos ranting about the sad state of modern gaming, but in the end, there are forces at play that we are constantly unaware of, and there is so much more nuance at play. You can absolutely still enjoy a game from a long time ago, and if you don't want to, you don't have to go anywhere near modern games. But just because the state right now is different and you may not like it, like me, in a few years' time the video game industry will have changed again, and maybe then things will start looking like how they used to.